Hey guys, welcome back to the Tech Buddies podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about framework and they've made a few changes, so that's definitely interesting and I'd like to talk to you guys about it. Today's episode is a solo episode. Athar is a bit busy with a few things, and from the next episode onwards, hopefully both of us will be there in each episode that follows. And today I'm going to be mainly talking about, like I said, the framework brand. They've made a few changes which are definitely interesting. For those of you who don't know what Framework is a brand that has taken a completely different approach to the modern day laptop. I'm sure if you have looked at the laptop market over the past few years, you've noticed that the number of ports have been decreasing. The amount of things you can upgrade or repair have also been decreasing. So, overall, the repairability and the modularity of laptops have decreased significantly. Framework is trying to change this. They're trying to make a more sustainable laptop, a laptop where you have control over what you want on the laptop, and a laptop where you can fix things properly. And this is a good move. And it takes a bit designing and planning to make a laptop like this and still have it compete with the top laptops in its price range. And it's a new company, so it does not have that much funding what your multi-billion dollar companies like Dell or Lenovo or Apple have. So it's a great feat that they were able to achieve whatever they have achieved so far. For those of you who don't know anything about framework, you can check it out on YouTube. I'm sure Linus Tech Tips has a couple of videos. There are other videos too. And I think we have also made an episode on framework before, or we have spoken about framework before. So you can check that out. I'll try to catch you guys up in case you uh, don't want to find the previous episode or listen to something else. So framework has a more, like I said, modular approach on laptops. The things that they have done to give this modular approach is, in today's day and age, we know the USB standard is USB Type C. And USB Type C is incredibly useful because it has fast transfer speeds. It can be used in both the directions, and it is also kind of more durable than the USB Type A. It is smaller too, and now you can see, except for the iPhones, modern day iPhones, and maybe the AirPods, almost all the devices that can support USB-C are supporting USB-C. And with USB Type-C, what Framework has done is they've created many USB Type-C ports that go inside the laptop, means that are a bit more inside the laptop, so you can technically attach a dongle, but the dongle will remain flush to your laptop. It won't look janky, it won't come out like when, I'm sure Mac users would be able to relate when you're trying to plug in a USB Type A product to your Mac. You have to attach a dongle or like a cable which should pop out, right? But because the USB Type C goes in, like it is properly inward to the laptop, I can't really explain this in the form of audio, but I think I'll edit it as a video too, and you'll be able to see in the video what I'm talking about. So they provide these little adapters that you can plug in and change whatever ports your laptop has. And since USB Type-C can also be used as a charger, maybe if you don't want a charger, you have charged your laptop fully and you want an additional port, you can do that. So previously they had only one laptop in the market from what I remember. It was the Framework Laptop 13. By the way, the sound you hear in the background is of my mouse. I'm also browsing their website while talking. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is not a scripted episode. Okay, so they had the Framework Laptop 13, which was kind of like any laptop in the market, which is good because it looked like any laptop in the market. Obviously, it had the modular features that Framework had promised, and lots of people were happy about it. There were a few things that people didn't like. That was the poor battery life of the Framework Laptop 13. That some people didn't want an Intel processor. For those of you who don't know, it first came out with an Intel i5 and i7 11th gen. Then it got the update to the 12th gen, and there was no Ryzen series processors, and many people wanted Ryzen, which is understandable. So you had four slots which were modular, and it used only one set of screws. Easy to change display. I think it had magnetic bezels, like back when iMacs used to have a whole magnetic display cover itself, like the glass. but this has the magnetic bezel so you can easily remove it. The problems with the previous gen, like I said, was the battery. It was very small. Many people, Windows laptops suffer with really bad battery life. And also the hinges were weak. Also a problem faced by many laptops, not just framework. So they had fixed these problems. I mean, they have fixed one of them, and one of the problems they had fixed previously. The weak hinges, there was an upgrade available for whoever wanted to upgrade their hinges. They could just get the parts, and that's the good thing about framework. Anything doesn't work, or if anything you want to make a small change about it. For example, you bought your laptop with 8 gigs of RAM. Now you can either get your own RAM, which is not still not possible in other brands, or you can get the exact same RAM that framework uses, and they are selling it themselves. You don't see brands offering that much support in this day and age. Also, if you got like a 120, I mean 256 GB storage variant, if you bought a MacBook, I admit MacBooks are really good, but you cannot upgrade it once you can upgrade it with soldering and stuff, but nobody wants to solder a MacBook because if they mess things up, then yeah, they don't want to be liable for any of the damages, right? Whereas with framework, they have designed the chassis in such a way that it is easy for anyone who remotely knows his or her way around tech. Or even if you don't know your way around tech, they have proper tutorials on how to change each and every component and how to disassemble each and every part of the laptop. So that's one thing that I like about framework, and that is the whole idea behind framework. Your keyboard stops working, they'll offer you replacements. You bought 11th gen framework, and this is what many people did. They bought 11th gen framework laptop 13, and when the 12th gen rolled around, and you guys know that the 12th gen was also a big upgrade over the 11th gen, people obviously wanted a better computer. There are people who upgrade every year, not many, but there are, the niche audience is still there, and they wanted to upgrade stuff. So for those people, they could just order the new 12th gen board from framework. They don't need to order an entirely new chassis, they don't need to order a new laptop or do anything sad. Just get the new main board. I think your old RAM or even your old SSD is compatible, and then you have your 11th gen main board with you too. The good thing about framework is they also have partnered up with Steel Series, if I'm not wrong. Let me just check that out. um, yeah, so they have partnered with someone, or I think it's Cooler Master uh, Steel Series. I think it's Cooler Master right now. Now that I thought about it, but they have created a like a hub or like a housing for their old main board. So what you can do is you can repurpose your old framework main board and use that as like a home PC or like a very thin and light PC, or you can use it like as a entertainment station. You can just plug it into your TV or whatever. It's basically a fully functioning computer still, right? The main board. So that's good. So they basically what they're doing is they're making your laptops like your entire main board, motherboard with everything in it as a new computer. Yeah, Cooler Master mainboard case for $39. I think it's 3D printed, and so that has proper like thermals and all can manage properly because it's designed by Cooler Master. So you can, their description says that the framework laptops 13's main board, without compromising on protection, you can make it into a standalone module which you can use as a computer. So for those people who like updating every year, they still have a computer that works. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. I don't think so I covered that before on the podcast. Now there are two versions of the framework laptop 13, the DIY edition and the pre-built edition. Pre-built, like the name suggests, the laptop comes like how any other laptop would come to you, fully assembled. DIY edition is it comes as parts because they have to spend lesser money assembling everything and you assemble it yourself. It would be cheaper. Also, there's this thing called the IKEA effect. I don't know if that's the exact name, but when you build something or you invest time in something, you tend to appreciate it more. There are, like, for example, I use an IKEA table. Now, I wouldn't say it's a great table, but I definitely put lots of effort into it that makes me appreciate the table more. And with IKEA products itself, lots of people appreciate IKEA products because of the sheer amount of time they put into it. I can't explain the exact phenomenon, but if you want, you can look it up. I think it's called IKEA effect. I remember reading it somewhere, but that's definitely an interesting thing to check out. So, like I said, 11th gen starts at $779. The 12th gen is cheaper, $749. 13th gen is $849 for the DIY edition. Pre-built is $1049 for the 13th gen, $949 for the 12th gen, which in my opinion is a good deal considering it's pre-built, and $810 for the pre-built 11th gen Intel processors. So that's the pricing. Now, one problem many people had, apart from the hinges and the batteries, was the lack of AMD Ryzen processors. Well, your prayers have been answered for those of you who are waiting for it. Unfortunately, as of now, the website doesn't show me a pre-built. Okay, it is showing now. Uh, the DIY edition for the Framework Laptop 13 with the AMD Ryzen variant starts at $849, which is the exact same pricing as the 13th gen Intel processors. So if you don't want Thunderbolt, like in quotes, Thunderbolt compatibility, then you can go for the AMD Ryzen variant 740 series. I don't think so they have told the exact processor that they're selling because of some issues, but yeah. What Framework has to do is, because they're not a big brand, AMD and Intel are not reliant on them. The amount of sales that AMD and Intel gets just from Framework is very less. So the brand is actually reliant on Intel and AMD. So they have to stay on their good side to get stuff from them. I think if you guys understand what I'm saying. The pre-built variant is 1049 for both. And yeah, so now all the new Framework Laptop 13s come with the upgraded hinges. For the people who bought the Framework Laptop 13 before, it did not have the upgraded hinges. There is also a matte screen for the 13 Gen 740 series. Basically, before it was only glossy, many people wanted matte. Hinge kit also, like I said, upgraded hinge kit. And then there is a bigger battery now, so they have answered all the problems people had. They have tried increasing the battery capacity without increasing the space, so it was 55 kilowatt, 55 watt hour battery before, and it is a 61 watt hour battery now, so maybe an hour more. It is designed to provide up to 80% of its original. They're not saying how many hours it is giving more. I would think it's around an hour 45 minutes, because you don't know with laptops. The speakers are just 2 watt speakers. I think they could have done a bit better with that. And yeah, so I think there is not much to talk about. There are new colors for the bezels, which is good. The keyboards also have a white and black color, and there's a transparent color too, for those of you who like all those quirky upgrades on your laptop. And I'd love to see them make a black body, or maybe like a midnight color body. I think it will look really good on this Framework laptop, and they're not really compromising on anything with this laptop. Even though you're getting modularity, you're not compromising on anything. Maybe you're compromising a bit for the battery life, but it's still better than its competitors, in my opinion. Okay, so I'll just talk about the modules, or whatever they like to call it. Let me just expansion cards. Yeah, that's the exact terminology they use. One good thing about their expansion cards is, one, you have the option to buy multiple expansion cards. I'll just tell you the pricing also for those of you who are interested. By the way, you cannot buy it in India yet. Maybe you can import it, but I don't think so they sell right now to India directly. Let me just see the expansion cards. You can also add storage through these expansion cards. You don't just have to add an SSD. USB Type-C is $9, 1 TB is $149, DisplayPort is $19, Ethernet is $39, which is a bit pricey. HDMI expansion slot is $19. Another a 3.5mm expansion slot is $19, but do note that it comes with a 3.5mm um, what basically you get a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in the box already. Maybe if you want one more of them, which I understand, you have to pay shell out $19. USB type A is $9. So I would suggest getting an Ethernet type A, maybe micro SD if you do a lot of shooting photography, or if not, you can take obviously two type C's, one HDMI because it's used a lot, and I wouldn't suggest an extra audio expansion slot. So that's just the pricing. You can add and remove based on your needs. But one thing I did not tell is that Framework is now making their expansion cards open to the public. Basically, they are, first of all, they give the I forgot what the exact terminology is, some diagrams for like the repair shops to see and things like that. But what they're doing is they're creating like a marketplace, like where if you have a design or you have an idea which can be attached to the Framework laptop, no matter how pointless it may be. For example, you want an LED or like a notification bar on one side of your Framework laptop as a port, you can design it, you can upload it to their marketplace, and people can purchase it from you, or people can know about your thing through the marketplace, basically building a community of people providing their parts and things like that. So basically it's kind of like a forum, but people can buy stuff from you, you can help other people. That's definitely interesting. What they're trying to do is build an actual viable community. Now I'll no longer talk about the Framework Laptop 13. Let's move on to the big thing of this year. And I'm also skipping the Framework Laptop Chromebook edition. I don't think so it's worth our time. But let's talk about the big thing that happened this year, or the big change that they made, and that is the Framework Laptop 16. You heard me right. They have a 16-inch laptop coming up, and it is a game changer, not only for Framework but for the whole laptop industry in itself, from what I have seen. Now, we do not have that much information about the Framework Laptop 16, but from the 34-second video that they've given, and from Linus's description and Dave Lee's Dave 2D, for those of you who don't know, Dave Lee, same thing. His description, this is definitely a game changer. The pricing is what is important, but yeah. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, basically they have made a 16-inch laptop with extremely good gaming abilities and also modularity. So the way they've done it is, it looks like your standard Mac without a numpad, but what you can do is you can easily remove the side, basically where the Mac has keyboards. Those are just like plastic panels. You can remove those plastic panels, easily accommodate a numpad. You can also remove those plastic panels, add speakers, add a light bar like how Asus has on the back of the lid of their ROG G14, if I'm not wrong. You can also expand the laptop with a bigger battery. Like I said, you can also expand the battery. Now here's where it gets interesting, with a GPU. And it is not like the laptop's GPU. This gets proper cooling, and this is going to change the way gaming laptops are, because many gaming laptops are just limited by their GPU. So now, considering that Framework likes giving updates every year, possibly a 3-year-old laptop could still be running the latest GPU, because the GPU is just removable, and you can also add a bigger GPU. So like, I can't really explain it, but if you remember in older laptops, all of them were modular battery wise. You could remove the battery from the bottom. Now that, because of the new design, the battery has obviously gone below the touchpad, and now that space is kind of free for cooling fans for normal laptops. But what Framework has done is, they've used that space to have a removable GPU. So you can, normally it would just be like a normal housing or whatever, and when you want to game, you can remove it, attach your GPU, and you can go ahead with playing games. There's a light bar, and there is, I think, 6 ports. 6 expansion slots on all sides. So you have like not infinite, but you definitely have a lot to customize. So this is definitely very interesting. I cannot tell too much about this because we do not have that much information. Like I said, the only information we have is a 34-second clip. Also, the keyboard gets the RGB lighting and all the other stuff. And they also have a developer program for the modules. I will put the video that Framework has uploaded so that you're getting a better idea about what I'm talking about. Also, the touchpad is centered. So on the two ends of the laptop's chassis, not where the speakers are, that can also be removed and changed. So this is definitely very, very, very interesting, and it is like no other laptop in the market before. I cannot explain much, but it definitely looks like Framework is onto something here, and I hope other brands take notes instead of trying to push Framework down, because I'm sure if Framework was a bit more mainstream and they did this, the other brands would not have any competition. I mean, Framework would not have any competition because of how good this idea is. Because gaming laptops have become stale, let's be honest. It's all about the gaming laptops have now become thick, no innovation, just try to fill the laptop with whatever processors you can. I mean, like whatever specs you can, try to make it as bulky as possible, as ugly as possible. Slap on some RGB lights and you're good to go. With 1 hour battery life, I don't know what you're going to do. Framework has tried to change this, and that's why I respect Framework for it. I think Framework, what they should do is first they should try to get the public to talk about this more. If I had an opportunity to review one of Framework's products, I would do it, but I have not even seen one in real life, so that's why I cannot give them too much praise. People have said that it's just okay, but for the modularity that you're getting over other brands, I'd like to give them a few more points. And the design does look good. It looks like something Lenovo would make, and the interesting part is Lenovo actually sued Framework for one of their logos, and they had to change it. I don't know if it's definitely not the logo of the company, but they were sued. And I mean, they had they didn't have a lawsuit, but they had a cease and desist from Lenovo. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. And from the pictures that they've given, I can see a USB type A, type C, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, two SD card. No, it's not a SD card slot, it's two speakers. So I am thinking the speakers are also going to get a huge spec bump over the Framework laptop 13. We'll have to see how the pricing is. I think it will be a bit expensive, around $2,500 and things like that. And there's no promised price here, but I think it would be hard for a new brand to really survive if they price this less. Like, because Framework knows that its current market is a niche set of people who are willing to pay a bit more, and for them to survive, they would have to keep their products on a bit more pricier. Once they become bigger, I can see them reducing their prices to have a more mass appeal type thing. And I guess that kind of sums it up. I didn't want to make this episode too long, but I think I dragged it out a bit. Sorry for my extremely loud laptop fan in the background. I dragged it out a bit. I'm sorry if I repeated a few points, but yeah, like I said, this is not a scripted episode. So I was just seeing the website and I was just making a few conclusions. I actually recorded this episode before, but that did not come out well, so I decided I'll do it once again for you guys. And hopefully I'll upload this soon. I'm planning to make a really good video about this. Exactly what I'm talking about means basically the exact same audio file, but I will try bumping up my editing skills or make it look a bit more professional. So I'm trying to put the work behind that too. And Atharv is also learning editing too, so we are both trying to improve the production quality. So the episode is kind of over, so if you want to click off, you can click off, but I'll still be talking for like maybe 2-3 more minutes, plug in some stuff, and then I'll click on the stop button. So we are trying to upload more often. For those of you who don't know, who don't check our YouTube out, we are not really active on our Spotify anymore. Like, we don't really have a schedule, but we are planning to have a weekly episode if things go out properly. We post community tab posts almost every day. Athar does a really good job with scheduling them, and they do decently, in my opinion. We put tech news, opinion polls. So check that out. Our community tab, youtube.com/@techbuddiespod/community. We are also uploading videos. Our last video was 4 days back. The history of Google. Atharv got an editor, so check out the description for, and shout out to the person who edited it. He edited the video for us, and we recorded it a while back, but we couldn't get any time to edit it properly. And our laptops, at least my laptop, cannot handle such long files for editing. Probably Athar's can. We also made a exclusive video on how does the Galaxy A54 compare to other smartphones during a very peak time for us. So a shout out to Athar also for devoting time for that, uh, even though we had exams going on. Also, we had re-uploaded a few shots which seem to have done just okay, I would say. And we did upload a new shot about this important feature that Apple is going to remove from their new iPhones. And I tried improving the production quality. And so you guys just check it out. Give me a review. Maybe DM Mathur on Instagram or Twitter, or maybe even tell it in the comments or community tab on how you felt about the shot, because I tried changing the production quality on the videos, making things more professional. And I just want to make all the videos you guys are watching a bit more fun to watch so that you guys will like our channel. So I think the plugin kind of ends there. If you're listening to this on Spotify, then I'm sure there's a review option, or there's like the rating option with the stars. Give us whatever you think is we deserve. I'm not forcing you to give any 5 stars or anything. If you're using Apple products, if you're using Apple Podcasts, then you can give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It can be anything. If you want to give us any feedback, or if you want us to cover anything, or even if we made a mistake, even if you don't like us, give us a review. And doesn't have to be a good review. Just say what you want to say. Check out our YouTube channel @TechBuddiesPod. TechBuddiesPod, that's the important part. Or you can search Tech Buddies Podcast, or if you're looking at the @handle, it's Tech Buddies Pod. Check us out on Instagram @Tech Buddies Pod. We have a Twitter too, Tech Buddies Podcast. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. I know this episode might be a bit long from the timeline I'm seeing here. Yeah, that kind of sums it up. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I will also upload this to YouTube. So see ya.